Why is it referred to as a pseudoscience, intelligent design?
Notice the term itself, pseudoscience, implies a definition of what presumably true science is. And this is in the philosophy of science known as the demarcation problem. How do you define science and distinguish it from pseudoscience or philosophy or religion or metaphysics or something else? And it turns out that that's a very difficult thing to do because the methods of reasoning that are used in scientific disciplines are actually not dissimilar, and in some cases are the same as the methods of reasoning that are used in philosophy or metaphysics or historical work or forensic inquiry. So the term pseudoscience is obviously a pejorative. It's meant to stigmatize someone without actually engaging in the person's arguments. But the presumed definition of science that is underlying that term and its use on the Wikipedia entry is that if you're to be a scientist, you must limit yourself to strictly materialistic explanations for everything. And you may not invoke intelligence or creative intelligence as a cause to explain anything. The reason they've designated me and other advocates of the theory of intelligent design as pseudoscientists is because they've presupposed a materialistic definition of science. There's a term in the philosophy of science for that definition. It's called methodological naturalism or methodological materialism, and it is a claim that, again, a normative claim that if you're to be scientific, you must not consider creative intelligence as an explanation for any phenomena. If you do, then you're going outside the scientific method and you're pseudoscientific. Well, that's a contentious definition of science. There are many fields that we recognize as scientific that invoke creative intelligence. If you're an archaeologist and you look at the Rosetta Stone in the British Museum, you're going to immediately infer that there was an intelligence involved in producing those inscriptions in 3 different languages. So we have methods by which we can detect the activity of intelligent agency. And what we're saying, those of us who are proponents of intelligent design are saying, is that when we apply those methods of design detection to living systems, we actually see distinctive hallmarks of the activity of a designing mind that is empirically detectable. And so that question can't really be settled. Whether we're right or wrong can't be settled by simply saying, oh, well, that's not scientific, we're not going to consider that. What really needs to be considered is whether or not the evidence supports the inference we're making. And this is the problem with all the use of demarcation arguments and why philosophers of science have generally rejected them. If you want to define somebody's opinion out of existence by the use of some abstract definition, or if you want to define a theory or a perspective or an inference or a hypothesis out of existence, or to say it can't be considered by definition, you may end up missing the best explanation for the evidence because you've simply defined science too narrowly to exclude possibilities that are inconsistent with your own personal philosophy, the philosophy in this case of materialism.